Welcome. You're listening to the Louie Minor Show. I'm your host, Commissioner Louie Minor. Today is May 13th, 2023. We have a lot of things to go over this week, so let's get started. First, let's start with the agenda for May 15th, 2023 of the Commissioner's Court. Item number 1 is the invocation. Item number 2, the Pledge of Allegiance. Item number 3, consent agenda. A, consider approval of the minutes of the May 8th, 2023 Commissioners Court meeting. B, budget personnel amendments. C, claims, accounts payable, payroll, restitution, jury pay. And D, consider authorization for the county judge to execute a contract between the Department of State Health Services Vital Statistic Section and Bell County to renew its county clerk's Vital Statistics Remote Access Service effective September 1st, 2023 through August 31st, 2027. E, consider authorizing the award of IFB number 31-32, install 2-inch hot mix asphalt overlay on Old Highway 81 and Precinct 3 to the lowest responsible bidder, Texas Materials Group, Inc., at a cost not to exceed $197,347.50. F, consider authorizing the purchase of one 2023 police package, Dodge Charger with prisoner partition package under the TIPS Purchasing Cooperative Contract number 210907 with Donaldson CDJR at a cost of $41,912.50. Item G, consider authorizing the purchase of one 2024 Chevy 2500 extended cab with fleet service body package under the TIPS Purchasing Cooperative Contract number 210907 with Lake Country Chevrolet at a cost of $59,465.35 for Facility Service Department and appropriate budget amendment. H, consider authorization of the county judge to execute a change order request ALLW-48 from Sedalco in the amount of $60,977 for Atmos gas line reconciliation of the jail expansion project. I, consider authorizing the county judge to execute an interlocal agreement between Bell County, the city of Rogers, Texas, to transfer 2 vehicles from the Bell County Sheriff's Department to be used with Rogers Police Department and Little River Police Department. Item 4, consider proclaming May 15th through the 19th, 2023 as National Salvation Army Week. Item 5, consider proclamation recognizing Fort Hood redesignation. Item 6, consider approval eliminating September 4th, 2023 Labor Day holiday from the current FY 2023 Bell County holiday. 7, consider approval amending FY 2022 through 2023 Commissioners Court meeting dates by changing June 19th, 2023 to June 20th due to county holiday. Item 8, county engineering. In accordance with the Texas Transportation Code, Section 251.058, consider and approve a resolution to abandon an alley located in Bell County, Precinct 3. Item B, consider and approve a preliminary plat of the Honey Hill being a 10.19 acre, 20 lot, 1 block subdivision located in Bell County Precinct 1. Then we have 9 Bell County Judge and Commissioners announcements. And that is everything for the regular agenda. Now, on our workshop agenda, we have, beginning right after this, around 10 o'clock, a briefing on safe streets and roads for all. That'll be Uriah Nelson from K-Tempo. B, reports and updates from various county departments. Then capital improvement updates. We have museum, Killeen Annex, and CIP projects for 2023. And we have item D, discuss FY23 mid-year salary increase related to the Bell County Corrections Officers and Bell County Correction Detention Officers, Human Resources. Then we have E, discuss using funds from Bell County JS vacancies for decision-making, ethics, and fraternization, criminal justice, professional training for supervisory staff. And then item F, update on the 88th legislative session. That'll be in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we have update on jail expansion project and temporary jail facilities. We have a closed session, Texas Government Code Section 551.0725, deliberating regarding contracts being negotiated relating to a jail expansion project. That's Commissioner Snyder. Then at 3 o'clock, we have a public hearing with the Bell County Thoroughfare Plan, Uriah Nelson with K-Tempo. And then after that, we go back into a closed session on Section 551.076, deliberation about deployment or specific implementation of security personnel or devices. And that is it for the workshop and regular agenda for May 15th. So I guess let's start off with what happened at last week's Commissioners Court meeting. We had 2 items that I had put forward. The first one was prohibiting firearms from Commissioners Court meeting in accordance with Penal Code Section 46.03B14. Now, I expected an uphill battle on that. I expected that not to go through, but it's bringing attention to the issue that there are people in the community that they're not comfortable with guns, and your right to carry a gun is not unlimited. And this is one of those places where the government can limit your Second Amendment right to carry guns willy-nilly. Meetings of government bodies is one of those places. So to promote inclusion and the willingness to speak freely and openly without fear or intimidation, I put this forward. And because we also don't have a bailiff in our court whenever we have our meetings, even though it is in our rules and decorum, we don't have that position filled yet. So that's something that we'll work on. It went through the vote and it was voted down 4-1. which was expected. The other item 8, I put on the agenda was consider inclusion of the Juneteenth National Independence Day, Monday, June 19th, 2023, as an authorized FY 2023 Bell County holiday. And I pulled some clips for you so you could hear exactly what went on.
Item 8 is to consider inclusion of the Juneteenth National Independence Day, Monday, June 19th, 2023, as an authorized FY 2023 Bell County holiday. Commissioner Minor, I believe you brought this also forward.
Make a motion to approve agenda item number 8.
Motion made by Commissioner Minor, seconded by Commissioner Whitson.
So after that second motion, it allowed us to go into discussion. Commissioner Whitson began the discussion with how he thought that it was a great holiday, well-deserved, well celebrated in the community, and he's going to work hard to make sure that we get that included in next year's county holidays list. But because of the disruption that it would be to the courts, here they already have dates, court dates scheduled, that he couldn't support it for FY 2023. Understandable. And then I had my comments.
Bias before I start recognizing you.
I have a couple of things, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Little history on Juneteenth for people that do not know. On January 1st, 1863, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation declaring that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforward shall be free. The Civil War ended April 9th, 1865. On June 19th, 1865, Union Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston and read General Order Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. June 19th was recognized as a Texas holiday, 1980, and then a federal holiday on June 17th, 2021. In President Biden's proclamation, he said, Juneteenth, we recommit ourselves to the work of equity, equality, and justice. And we celebrate the struggles, the centuries of struggles, courage, and hope that have brought us to this time of progress and possibilities. The county auditor said that it would cost roughly $55,000 for the county to pay for this holiday and overtime pay, holiday pay. The courts were here last week, and they did say they have cases scheduled for that day. But they said at the end of that if this court decided to approve June 19th, they would follow suit and recognize that holiday. One of the judges said that we should recognize that holiday, and she wanted to go on record in saying that. So in 2021, this court had an opportunity to recognize June 19th, and it didn't. In 2022, this court had an opportunity to recognize June 19th, and it did not. And you're going to do it for a third year in a row if you don't approve this. So what is that telling your citizens? What is that telling your citizens? We need to recognize June 19th for FY23, and moving forward in perpetuity. And with that, I'll end my statements.
Now, after that, the judge opened it up to citizens' comments. And we had roughly 20 to 25 people there to speak on this item. All of them spoke in favor of this item. The Temple branch, NAACP, was there. The Killeen branch, NAACP, was there. And the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce was there. We also had some representatives from LULAC in attendance and spoke on this as well. And after this long discussion, citizens' comments to speak on this, Commissioner Woodson then spoke and said how his heart was changed, his mind was changed by all the input from the citizens today. And regardless of the effect on the courts, he felt compelled to change his initial stance on this issue, Juneteenth. Then we had Commissioner Schumann that spoke, and he blamed, get this, he blamed the citizens sitting in the audience, most of them black, for making us have to make this decision. In 2023, he's almost mad because citizens have petitioned their government for non-inclusion for 2 years of a federal holiday because it was not, because the lack of action from the commissioner's court. So he's blaming them. He's putting it on them. No, Commissioner Schumann, it's your fault that we're in this position. So after that, before we made our decision, our vote, keep in mind, you need 3 to 2 is the magic number. You need 3. There's 5 of us there. The county judge had this to say.
Commissioners, I'd like to make a couple of comments also before we vote. We're going to vote here in just a moment. There was a comment made that I'm not sure exactly how it was made, but reference to, how come this hasn't come forward before? It has come forward before. In fact, Commissioner Driver brought it up, I think, the very first opportunity that the federal holiday was recognized. So it was brought up, and it was talked about twice in budget discussions. So it's not the first time. I'm not going to allow a second round of comments at this time. The holiday and the 2 factors that have been involved in our budget discussions, at least the 2 times that we've talked about it, have been 2 factors. I think one of those factors was the cost associated with the holiday, which has already been mentioned, and I won't go back over that. Budgets do matter. They matter quite a bit. But we do talk about it, and it is talked about in budget. But the costs were a factor in the discussions. And I think the second factor that I gathered from the comments in budget was the number of holidays that the county already grants, which is in excess of the federal holidays that are listed. I think that was a factor in the court's decisions in the past. I don't think there was ever a discussion or ever a debate about the value or the worthiness of the holiday of Juneteenth, National Independence Day. That was never a question in my mind by any member of this dais. I think there was always tremendous respect for that. It was more about those other two factors. My concerns about implementing the holiday at this point in time is our court system, and Commissioner Schuman just mentioned it, but the judges were here last week. We had all but one of the district judges here. And that question was asked about what impact would this have if this is implemented about 6 or 7 weeks in front of the holiday when the court dockets are set months and months in advance. And their answer was, that I took from them, was it will impact the court system and it will delay some trials. And that has been my biggest concern in this process, is not recognizing the holiday. It's just been the adverse impact that it will have on our judicial system, which is already backed up. And we have far too many people waiting far too long to get to a trial. And I hate to do things that would also delay those trials any further. Now, all of that said, I join Commissioner Whitson in telling you today that your comments and your input today changed my mind. What I heard from the leadership of the NAACP from both the Killeen and Temple side is that celebrating this holiday this year, without regard to the impact that it has on the courts, is of higher priority. I'll respect that, because the judges have said they can respect that also. It will adversely impact the timing of those trials. There's no doubt about that. But taking a day off, adding another holiday is a higher priority, is what I have heard. For that reason, I'm also going to support it, effective this year. All right, Commissioners, I think we've all had an opportunity to comment. All those in favor of the motion to consider Juneteenth National Independence Day, June 19th, 2023, as an authorized FY 2023 Bell County holiday, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
And I vote in favor. Motion carries 3-2. Item 9. Thank you. Let me also add this. We say this all the time from the dais, and I think you've heard it from every single commissioner up here, that we value your input, we value your comments, we value your participation in your government processes, whether they be at the city or the county or any local level, school board, pick a local government entity. It truly does make a difference. I hope you saw that today. Just from my standpoint, I was not prepared when I came in here today to vote for this. I was not. But again, your input, your comments moved me and changed my mind. And I appreciate that. And even though the vote may not always go, quote, your way, please know that your input in the process does make a difference. Either way the vote goes. Thank you again for being here.
So there you have it. We are now going to recognize Juneteenth in Bell County for FY23. And I'm assuming we will recognize it every year moving forward. I don't see why not. But if you heard whenever I read off the agenda for Monday, the 15th, we had item 6 placed on there, eliminating Labor Day from the FY23 county holiday, authorized county holidays. How petty is that? That Commissioner Schuman, I'm assuming, is the one that put it on there. How petty is that? That the vote didn't go your way, and now you're upset and you're trying to prove a point using authorized holidays as your weapon. I would expect this to not end good for Commissioner Schuman. But at the end of that last clip, what the county judge was saying, that it matters, your involvement matters. Two commissioners were prepared to not vote on this, to authorize this for the 2023 calendar year as it was proposed. But because of the activism, because of all the people in attendance that voted, that voiced their support for this, it changed their minds. And now we have Juneteenth as a Bell County holiday because of citizen involvement, citizen activation, citizen petition. It works. It works. And now we'll talk about the next big thing that happened this week. And let me cue up the clip. And with that, we welcome in Fort Cavazos to the military bases in Texas and the United States. And good riddance to Fort Hood. There were a lot of elected officials there from the city of Killeen. We had members of state representatives, Congress. There were a lot of people there in attendance. Generals, the Cavazos family, members of LULAC. So yeah, it was a big event, historic event, and I am honored that I was able to be present, partake in that event, and it'll definitely be remembered as part of our history here in Bell County. We're going to be recognizing them with a proclamation on Monday as well, honoring that redesignation to Fort Cavazos. So we have Fort Cavazos. We're recognizing Juneteenth. It just seems like we're getting closer and closer. Maybe one day we'll get that statue down on the Bell County Courthouse as well. So I guess now we can start talking a little bit more about the budget. This is week 2 of our budget hearings that we've had. So I just want to go over, I guess, the big picture of what the county auditor initially talked to us about. So anticipated revenues for the FY 2024 budget is 141, a little over $141 million. And that is using the no new revenue rate. So that, to explain no new revenue rate, is the same amount of money that we're getting now, whatever that rate would be. So property taxes, property values, if they've gone up, which they have, we received that list, and we'll go over it here in a little bit, of how much property tax values have gone up. That increase in value means that you don't have to tax the same amount, or if you tax the same amount, it would be more. So if they had the no new revenue rate, the tax rate would probably come down a little bit. So that's what they refer to as no new revenue rate, to keep the same amount of money that we got, whatever that rate would be. And since property tax increased, values increased, if they wanted to keep that rate, it'll probably go down. So that's 141 million, a little over 141 million. So if we did the maximum increase in property tax, which is 3.5% for the county, that would be $141 million. Or I'm sorry, $144 million. And that's the voter approved tax rate. Anything over that, they're not saying, the state legislature is not capping us at 3.5% from the last fiscal year. They're just saying that if you do go over that, it has to be approved by the voters. So anticipated expenditures is about $154,000. But even when in the budget, when we went over that, we know that that number is low, because we've talked about increasing jailer pay at the jail and the juvenile center. So that's going to be at a significant cost to the county, increased cost. That number is not even in here. So we'll have to include that in there, and that number. So either way, at the no new revenue rate, at least at the projected expenditures at the no new revenue rate, it shows us that we're in the negative $13 million. And if we get to the voter approved rate, which is 3.5%, would be in the negative around $9 million, a little over 9 million, actually closer to 10. But so that's kind of the boundaries that we're working in right now of trying to fund the government. Last year's budget, the budget for that we're operating off of right now, FY23, with the tax rate of 0.3160, is $135,994,612. That is the revenue for 2023, and our expenditures are $131,340,000 that we have budgeted for expenditures for FY23. So that's a net positive of $4,664,062. So that's the range we're in. We have a jail that's going to be coming online next year that we're going to have to staff. We have a diversion center that's going to be coming online that we're going to have to staff. And I believe there's going to be some cost sharing there with Scott and White. We don't know exactly what all that's going to be, but definitely the capital improvement will come from the county. So with those benchmarks, then we start hearing the budgets from the elected officials and department heads. Now, keep in mind, whatever revenue rate that we use, either the no new revenue rate will be at negative $13 million, or the voter approved rate, 3.5%, which is almost 10 million. We're in the short. We're in the red. So we have spoken with, so far we've spoken with the museum, emergency management, the county clerk, justice of the peace, 3, place 1, the treasurer, veteran service, county court of law number 1, all of the district courts, pretrial services, archives, contract management, juvenile services, engineers, road and bridge, the constable, justice of the peace precinct 2, the communication center, 911 center, and the county court of law coordinator. And just about everyone, except for maybe 2 or 3 of those, have kept their budget the same. Everyone else, there's some type of something, personnel, reclassifications of job descriptions, capital, or not capital, but vehicles, radios, equipment, things like that, new personnel. So that's going to be interesting to see, where do you cut from? So next week we have a couple of facilities, myself, the tax assessor, justice of the peace precinct 4, place 2, the county attorney, adult probation, and the elections department. And we have items until June. So we'll continue to figure out how to fund government and keep the level of services that the citizens expect, capital improvements, all that meshed together to make this place a great place to live, work, and play. So let's switch over to news real quick. A lot of things have been going on. We have Title 42 lifting on the border. That's going to affect immigration. There's supposed to be hundreds of thousands of immigrants on the border, and they're expecting a surge, a surplus of people to come in seeking asylum. We have more gun violence. Last weekend, we had, I believe it was 8 people get gunned down in Allen, Texas at their shopping mall. The individual that shot and killed him, he was killed himself. He was wearing a patch that had the abbreviations for Right Wing Death Squad on it. And I saw some of the videos circulating online. It was pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. The holes in the bodies that they had. It's pretty bad. We really need to do something about these assault weapons. But I've been telling people that I really don't think there's enough blood in this country for these gun nuts to shed for them to put some restrictions on their guns. They love their guns that much that they're willing to let America bleed for it. That's sad. Lives are being lost, wasted unnecessarily. I believe it was Chief Justice Warren Burger, Republican, that was put into office by Nixon, Chief Justice. And he said that the Second Amendment is the greatest fraud put on to the American public by special interests. And he said, I repeat the word fraud. So I believe that's the case. These people are duped to go out and buy guns, a ton of guns, multiple guns. I don't know why. They only have two hands. So, hey, more power to you, I guess, if you want to go out and waste all your hard-earned money on guns. But so we had that here locally. We also had a tragedy. It's not in our county, Milam County. City of Cameron lost a police officer to domestic violence. The guy had a high-power rifle. He was killed, but during that incident, an officer was shot and later succumbed to his injuries, and it was from an assault weapon. So that's here local. When is it going to stop? I don't know. But it's going to take citizens to continue to petition their elected officials. It's going to take elected officials to have the courage to propose laws, propose restrictions, reasonable restrictions, to propose red flag laws to end this madness that we have, this cancer that we have. So we will continue to be vigilant, hope that we don't have any incidences here in our community. And we know it's going to happen. Everyone just hopes that it's not in their backyard. It's not in their community. It's not in their school or their store or their place of worship. But we don't know. We don't know where the next one's going to happen. So, with that, thank you for listening. If you have the opportunity, go to your local government commissioners meeting, to city council meeting, make your voice be heard. They have next week, we also have some of our elected officials getting sworn in from city council that just got elected. So I'll be going to a couple of those. We also have Miss Zoe Grant, who was elected, first African-American woman elected in the city of Temple. So congratulations to her. I was not able to attend her swearing in because I was at budget meeting, but kudos to her. I look forward to working with her in the city of Temple. And with that, we will see you next time. Have a good day.